All right. Hello again. I'm State Representative Roger Bruce. I represent District 61, and welcome to this week's edition of Under the Gold Dome. And again, we tried to make this as widespread as we can, so we have two additional guests with us today who I'll let introduce themselves and talk about the district that they represent.
Thank you so much, Roger. Representative Roger Bruce, for that. My name is Erica Thomas, State Representative Erica Thomas, District 39. I have South Cobb County, which consists of Mableton, Austell, Powder Springs, and Smyrna.
Okay.
Thank you for the invite, Representative Roger Bruce. My name is Representative Debra Bazemore, and my district consists of Fulton, Fayette, and Clayton, District 63.
And again, we have Dre with us again. You want to say anything about you?
No, that's fine.
Okay. You becoming a regular on the program. We have an interesting, different topic or way of doing it this week, in that I was challenged by my staff, all of whom are probably half my age, to talk a little bit about the what do y'all call yourselves, the millennials? And how, now we have some of us that are more seasoned, is that a proper way to put it, and that are all fighting for the same thing. And but we might be fighting in different ways. And so they wanted to spend a few minutes to just kind of talk about the different approaches to how we communicate, how we, get the point across on the different bills that we have to work on. So why don't we turn it over to you for a second and tell us what prompted you to want me to do this?
Just so that we would have a platform to, discuss these type of things. Most of the reps who are more seasoned, we like what you guys are doing. We love what you guys are doing. But, there are a lot of young folks here who work at the Capitol, who staff a lot of the reps. And we just want to be included in the conversation because we feel that we have a lot to offer you. But we also want to learn from you. And someone like myself, having an opportunity to work with you, Representative Bruce, has been really amazing because I've learned so much. But I also know that I do have some things, from my background that I could add to the conversation, being from this generation, being engaged, someone who has participated in organizing and marches and also lobbying different representatives on both the federal and the state level. So that was basically what prompted us to try to have this.
So you want a seat at the table.
A seat at the table.
And you have one. You're sitting there now. Now you are one of our younger representatives. Do you see a different methodology to how you have to get things done down here versus those of us that are a little more seasoned?
Yeah. I think one huge point that Dre, right, pulled out is that, it's a lot of wisdom, from you and from other representatives that are more seasoned. It is important that we're part of the conversation. Mm-hmm. And it's good to have representatives that actually listen to the younger folks. Mm-hmm. I know for me, I was just like Dre. I was a legislative aide. I started off as a legislative aide, and I had a representative just like Roger Bruce that fed into me and that made sure that I was in the right places, that I learned all that I could, let me write bills, let me come up with ideas with bills, and showed me how to write it. And not even really showed me everything. I would say this representative was kind of hard on me because I had to make sure I knew what to do it. She would say, look, Erica, I need you to find out what bill is going into Science and Technology Committee today. And she would give me a number, and I would have a bill number, and I would have to figure it out. Whether I was calling the author of the bill, I was calling legal counsel, bugging everybody, but I had to figure it out on my own. So next time I knew what to do. It wasn't just given to me. But it's good to have more seasoned and people that are wise that are actually willing to have the time to do it, because there's a lot of us. There's a lot of state representatives, but not everybody takes the time out to feed into the next generation, because we have to remember that we are the ones that are going to take your place, And, just like even Miss Bazemore, Representative Bazemore, you were with Representative Bruce before, you know, and you now are a state representative. And so that goes to show how important it is really for us to reach back and pull up.
And that's what I wanted to piggyback on. I wanted to say because when we are sitting in these seats, we have to remember that
You have to talk a little bit louder for them to hear you.
we have to remember that when we are sitting in these seats representing more seasoned individuals, that we have to go and pull back the individuals that are behind us and bring them to the forefront. And I know when I was campaigning, and there was a young lady that was running in that campaign with me, and I was amazed at her wisdom and her energy and her forward thinking. And my opinion is that I want to help her and push her along and bring her along so that she can have a voice also at the table.
Now given what happened at the national level, at least for the next 4 years, we have an individual that probably none of us in here voted for. But what we, and I don't want to speak for us, I'm assuming none of us did. But,
I didn't.
Okay.
I did not.
All right. But how do we, there's going to be changes made, there's going to be different things that happen as a result of the outcome of that election. Some of us we're going to have to live with it, but there's the people behind us, you guys, this millennial generation. You're going to be stuck with some things that I'm probably not going to be burdened with over time. But how do you get your colleagues? How do you get people to get engaged, to get involved, to make sure that they understand what is happening, both nationally and locally? How do you get people engaged?
I think that one thing, like what you're doing here, I think this is huge, putting this out there so that people can hear the conversation that we're having as representatives. I also think that knowledge is really the key, because we are in the age of where you can go click of a button and have all the information that you need. I'm looking at these books right here, and it just reminds me of when I was in 5th grade and I had to look at the encyclopedia to do on my project about crocodiles or whatever. And we're in the day and age where I can just Google crocodiles and I can know what happened with crocodiles back in 1670 to what's happening in 2017. And it's sometimes I feel like sometimes we get lazy because we know that we can just do that. And so we have to make sure that we're using that knowledge. One thing I want to add too is that people need to know what's going on with the 45th president. He's signing executive orders back to back to back to back. He signed one executive order, and I talked about this on my show yesterday, $25 billion to build a wall. People need to know that we as a state, our budget for 2017, we just admitted the other day, was $24 billion. So if that's the case, we ran a whole state with $24 billion. That's child care services, that's education, that's everything. And we got a president that wants to build a wall with what we ran a whole state in a year.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
So it doesn't make sense. You're trying to get something in there?
No, yeah, I agree. I feel like, this generation really has to be informed and educated. A lot of times we can be angry about a lot of things that are going on, and you'll see that with a lot of young folks. We're angry about, things like the wall or, police brutality or criminal justice, over-criminalizing black and brown men and women, or, people taking advantage of the LGBTQ community. And these are things that really need to be addressed. But not only do we have to be angry, but we have to be informed, and we have to be willing to, step into roles like we're in right now and do something about it. So that's when I say that wisdom and, that seat at the table is very important, because, we may have these ideas and we may have this anger, but we need to, do something to be, to put those ideas out there in a way that will actually make things happen. So break down these institutions. Well, first get into these institutions and then break them down from the inside to kind of move this country forward.
Proactive, not reactive.
Well, let's kind of shift gears for a second, but keep that same theme going. There's legislation that's pending now. All the bills are being dropped, and and some of them are dealing with things that are going to impact this millennial generation. My understanding is that you dropped a bill dealing with minimum wage. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
Why don't you talk about that for a second?
Thank you so much for that, Representative Bruce. So I dropped a bill, and it is called the Federal Minimum Wage Stabilization Act. And what that means is that all we're trying to do is get the minimum wage to what the federal minimum wage is. Right now, minimum wage is $5.15 in Georgia. A lot of people don't know that, Representative. A lot of people don't know that. And when I say it, they're like, what? I don't understand.
Okay, well, I want to make sure I understand, because if the federal is at a level that's higher than the state, don't we have to comply with the higher level?
So not everyone has to. So there are some jobs, there are some entities that are not covered under OSHA, and those are the ones that aren't covered are, for example, household workers and farm workers, some people with disability, different, because a lot of different, it's a long list I can get to you, but it's about 50,000 Georgians that aren't getting paid that amount, and we're all the last of 2 states. It's just us and Wyoming.
And why do you think that is?
Well, with us being a red state, and not even with us just being a red state, it's kind of, it baffles me to even say that, because there's a lot of red states that, even Texas, they're even, look, I feel like they're more red than us. They meet their legislators meet every other year, so they're all a less government. But I think it's a lot about, some people are stubborn. You know how they're stubborn. They don't want to raise anything. They don't want to. They're stubborn.
I wonder if that's a throwback to, the fact that Georgia was a agricultural state, and that minimum wage was really tied to people who were out there in the fields and doing that labor that was related to a farm. And then I also wonder if that has to do, it's kind of ironic, because I think it also has to do with the immigrants that have come in that were willing to work for less. And the irony of it is that now we have people who are saying we want to run them out of the country, but you don't have people here in the country that want to do the work that they're doing. So it's kind of an interesting dynamic. I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I'm glad that you have dropped that bill, because we discussed that at Georgia Working Families, and that was a big discussion about the state minimum wage of $5.15, which shocked me because I wasn't aware at the time until we were in that meeting. So I definitely support that and believe that we need families functioning for us to move forward.
And we don't want to just stop there at $7.25.
I got it.
We don't want to just stop there, but I just feel like for us to go from $5.15 to $15 an hour, the Republicans, they
probably won't happen in this session. Right. You have legislation that you're working on too.
Well, I'm working on a bill. It's regarding contract for deeds, and I don't know if any of you have seen a news report of how some companies are purchasing homes in Georgia, and they are allowing individuals to believe that they are homeowners. But if they fail to cut the grass or miss a payment or just something slightly irregular to what they were supposed to do, they put them out. And they do not record the deed. The deed's not recorded. So therein, they can kick those people out, and they've lost all the money that they've invested, that they've repaired.
They kick out the tenants.
They kick those people out that believe they are homeowners. And then they are able to put another set of people in to do the same thing. And they continue to do that over and over and over again. So what I found is that in Texas, they really tightened up the law. And one of the companies that's here in Georgia that has, I think it's over 1,100, it's either 100 or 1,100, and I'm sorry I don't remember the number, but homes here. And they're doing the same thing that they did in Texas, and they tightened the laws up because that's what was being done in Texas. So that's why I'm looking at the Texas law.
And so they came here.
Exactly. So they bought up some homes here,
Wow.
and they purchased them at a really low amount, and then they increased the amount and charged individuals. And there was this one case, this man was fixing up the home, paying, he had an accident or he got ill. And if he had been under a regular mortgage type loan, that he would have been covered. But he wasn't, and so he missed one of his payments, and he has 3 little girls, and they're kicking him out.
Wow.
And what's the kind of loan is this?
Contract for deeds.
So that's something that all of us need to pay attention to.
Yes, please.
And keep an eye on it to
Yes.
to see how we can do it.
It's not, it's still in legislative council's
Council, okay.
hands, yes.
But we
So
need to,
they're
you
gonna
know,
draft
it
it.
sounds
we
like we
push
need to keep
that.
our eyes on it,
Definitely.
open for that. Now, tell me, what committees are you serving on?
So I serve on Science and Technology,
Okay.
Budget and Fiscal Affairs Oversight Committee, Juvenile Justice, and drum roll for my new one, Retirement.
Retirement.
Yes, retirement.
Now, wait,
So
now,
you can see my grades.
wait a minute. Didn't we just talk about you being what's the word?
Millennial.
Millennial. Wait a minute.
I think they need the millennial opinion. You know, I'll probably only be the one that's there when they retire. So.
Yeah, I'm okay.
I don't know.
I'm on that committee too, so I'm trying to figure that one out. But in which committees are
So
you
I'm
on?
on intragovernmental coordination, state planning and community affairs, and natural resources and environmental.
Okay, which is kind of interesting because I serve on the Judiciary Committee, and one of the bills that we are dealing with seemed like it should be in your committee.
And what bill is
And,
that?
and it deals with, it's actually House Bill 1. It's the first one that somebody pre-filed it. And what it does, it allows for the creation of a not an airport, it's a, I'm sorry?
Spaceport.
A spaceport. Yeah, it's a spaceport. And the net of it is that there are people who have a lot of money, I guess, that want to start having flights, you know, on a spacecraft from here to wherever they want to go
In space.
in space. And I asked in the committee meeting whether they knew something we didn't know, and they are building this thing so that somebody could land here or something could land here. But it's big business. It is huge business.
Are you serious?
I'm very
So they're
serious.
taking people out of space now.
Well, that's what they want to do.
Or is it
And
already? Is it happening anywhere
No,
else?
they built these
publicized.
they built these spaceports in a couple of other places, and now they want to build one here down by the islands, by Jekyll Island in that area down there, and with the idea that they would develop spaceships that would have just regular, you know, passenger participation in it.
Lift off.
And but the net of the bill, one of the reasons why it got to my attention, I don't know why it's in judiciary.
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense.
But it is, and I think it's in judiciary because what they asked for in the process of building this, what they asked for is to be exempt from any kind of liability associated with what they're doing. So maybe that's why it ended up in judiciary. But they don't want to be in a situation where they would be liable if one of those rockets went up and didn't make it all the way and fell down on top of your house, or you know, something else. And they have it built where you voluntarily, you know, buy a ticket to get on this thing. But to me,
Did they say what the ticket prices were?
well, they hadn't built the spaceship yet.
Crazy.
But
This is the crazy.
but what made me think about it is you what is it?
Millennial.
Millennials, whatever it is.
I'm not getting on.
that you guys, you know, would be the ones that might be involved in traveling on
This
these
seems
things. So, what do you think about that?
Well, I'm not sure if taxpayer money is being used to pay for this, first off, because, I mean, we have people who are starving in this state. We have people who don't have jobs. And, you know, there are things, the schools could, you know, be fixed in certain ways. So I don't understand why taxpayer money is being spent on
No, I don't
this.
think it's
That's not
taxpayer
taxpayer money.
Well,
I don't think
well-
that it's taxpayer money. I think that what they're saying is that they have to pass it through us before they can build something on it.
Okay.
It's people. It's going to be like a private entity.
Well,
That's what I got from
it would be a private entity, but they would be getting public protection, so to speak. If the tort bills, the tort law, and everything else gives them an exemption from liability, then it becomes of public interest. You know, if you have a house there and this rocket ship goes over and some debris from it hits your house and you don't have the ability
wanna be liable.
to sue them, then that could be a problem. So it's a lot. That's just another one for you to keep your eye.
And
keep your
that's
eye
just,
on.
it's, it's funny that you bring that up because it just goes to show what we deal with. Like all the things that people don't know that we're putting out there. In the Science and Technology Committee the other day, I know y'all probably heard about this on the news. What's going on with Department of Homeland Security and the Secretary of State, the argument that's going on, you know what I'm talking about? Well, anyways, I'll elaborate on it because probably a lot of things going on.
Yeah, because if we're not on a certain committee, you may not know what bills are going through.
Yeah. So what's going on right now is that we had the Secretary of State's office come and brief us. They were hacked. The Secretary of State, their voter the voter registration, whatever the voter registration or machines and stuff was hacked the day before the primary, the day after the primary. I mean, it was in March primary. It was the February primary, then the one in May, then the day after the November election. So it was crazy, but it was hacked from the Department of Homeland Security, somebody's desk at Homeland Security.
And they've proven that.
So they have proven that. Now they said it's 3 levels of hacking. It's low level, which means that they get in, they try to get in, but they're out. They're knocked out, back out. Medium means they get in and they can't really see anything. And then high level is they get in, they've got all the information. So somebody put it like this to break it down. What kind of hacking was this? Was this you drive by, somebody drives by your house, looks over at your house and keeps going? Or was this somebody drives by your house, looks at your mailbox number and, writes it down and keeps going? Or was this somebody drives by your house, gets out and looks in the window? And the guy from Secretary of State this was somebody drives by your house, gets out and tries to open the window to see if it's unlocked. So they're investigating that right now, trying to get answers from the Department of Homeland Security. Jeb Johnson, the guy who's over, the chairman of one's over Homeland Security, hasn't really given us as many answers as we want to.
So that's something else for us to keep our eye on.
Yeah, something else for us to keep our eye on.
Anything going on in your committees that you want to make sure that everybody knows about?
Well, not yet. We only had presentations in the one, Natural Resources and Environmental, and the other 2 we have not met yet.
Okay.
So, nothing.
One other thing before we wrap it up. As you both know, we had a rollout this week of legislative agendas on the part of the Democratic caucus. And some of us have bills that will be that are part of that package. Did you have one that was part of it? Which one did you have?
This is a Child Safety and Emergency Preparedness Act.
Okay, why don't you talk about it real quick? You don't want
Okay.
to?
Well, because it was given to me and I
Okay.
was out
Okay.
when it happened. So
Okay.
I have it here.
All right.
But in detail, I can read a portion of it to you. And it says it's relating to education and it's to amend and relating to general provisions pertaining to early care and learning.
Okay.
So basically
is
in a
there a bill
nutshell.
number associated with that? Or is that being proposed?
Not yet.
Okay.
No.
So
not yet.
that's another one to just keep our eye on. So, and again, we're just starting. This is our
Day 7.
this is day 7 or 8.
8.
Yeah. And but the first part of this, as we all know, is more ceremonial, and the committees are just starting to meet. So I'm sure we'll have more on that in the future.
Yes.
Okay, we're going to have to wrap it up. Is there anything else that you want to talk about? Have we bridged the gap between you young folks and us more senior people here? Have we bridged that gap?
I don't think there was really a gap.
Okay.
The gap as some people would like to see it, but I just feel that just a seat at the table to be able to express these ideas and whatnot and work in conjunction.
Yeah, and I believe in that. Hopefully, I've demonstrated that with you guys. I really believe that if we don't prepare the next generation, then we're going to suffer as a result of that, because there's going to be a time when, as we age, that we will be totally dependent on the wisdom and efforts and work that you guys do. So if we don't prepare you for that, then we're going to suffer too. So I'm all for it. Did you have anything you want to say to
I
kind
just
of wrap
want
it
to
up?
say I'm excited about us all sitting at the table, because when you all have ideas, we have to take note. And the same goes with when the seasoned people, you have to respect the wisdom. And so if we come together and collaborate, we can move forward in a better way, and prepare everybody else to take over when we step down.
Okay. You had any last words? We've had
I just
ours.
want to say thank you so much for having me today.
Okay.
And I think this was really great. I'm happy about this conversation. I can't wait to get the link so I can
Okay.
put it out there. This was really good.
All right. And you guys are welcome to come back. We do this every Friday at 1 o'clock. And, as we go forward and the bills, become more in-depth within the committees, we'll be able to just pull a few of them out and make sure people know what's going on. In the meantime, thank you for coming, and work hard. We got to get a lot done in a short period of time. So in any way, as a seasoned person that I could help you guys, just let me know, okay?
Thank you.
All right.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.